of things. The first thing I want to talk about is how to use me as the philosophy professor and how that can help you out. I also want to answer a bunch of your questions from the polls. I won't be able to get to them all. I'll do some more for the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however long it takes me to get through them. And I'll show you around the garage gym here in a minute. So before I get to anything else, let me just say real quick that there's all kinds of really, really, really good philosophy, ethics, critical thinking resources on the internet. I use them all the time. Some of them are really great. Some of them aren't so great, so you got to be a little careful. But a lot of them are really, really great. And so the thing you get in a philosophy class is not like the books. The books are old. You can find them anywhere. Or even some of the more modern philosophers, you can just find them on YouTube. You can just go Google them. What you get actually is me. Is if you have a question or you're wondering about something or you're thinking about something in one of the assignments and you're not really sure, just text me up. A good chunk of you have done it, but most of you haven't. I'm really pretty quick. I generally respond, within an hour at the most. If I don't, text me again. The only exception is don't text me in the morning because I'm probably not going to answer in the morning. But late at night, 2 a.m., I'll probably answer. All right? So please, the thing you get out of a in-person or an online class with an actual living professor is that I'm here to help. I'm here to answer your questions, and I'm here to give you the answers that you need or to help you find the answers if I don't know the answer. Okay? So make sure you use me appropriately during the class, all right? So now I'm going to answer a bunch of your questions. I don't know, I got about 10 of them. And the first one should be pretty easy. One of you asked me if I'm a Red Sox fan, because I'm from the Boston area, and the answer is yes. Even last year when they were horrible, still followed them all the time. This year they're much better. Not great, but much better. And so, it's been fun to watch this year, so yes, I am a Red Sox fan. 2 different people, oddly enough, asked me how old I am. So I'm 52 years old, almost 53 years old. What else we got? So somebody asked me if I just suddenly got $1 million, what would I do with it? I guess what I would say is, in the modern world, I'm not sure $1 million is all that much. Most people who get a decent job are going to make more than that over their lifespan. And I'm kind of old. And so I don't really need to plan too much for the future. I've already kind of done that. And so what I would probably do is use it to do more fun stuff with my kids, especially traveling. I always wanted to go to France. I did a French minor, and I still try to keep up a little bit. And there's a lot of other places I'd like to check out too. So probably I would travel. But I don't want to keep it. I don't want to do anything magical with it. I just probably would just use it for experiences, because when I'm dead, who cares? I can't use it then, can I? Someone asked kind of an important question, and the question was, how related to real life is this class? Now, in the beginning of the class, they're always kind of the same. There's certain responsibilities I have to prepare you if you take another philosophy class. And so you have to touch certain bases in philosophy and ethics and critical thinking, whatever it happens to be. And so I have to try to make sure to cover all that. But as you'll start to see, starting really this week and going for most of the rest of the semester, almost all the larger assignments are based on turning what you learn outside of yourself. Looking around the world at things like climate change or race or gender or democracy, whatever it is you want to pick, and applying the things by practicing. I'm a strong believer in practice. If you do not practice things, you do not get better at them. And so there was another kind of related question to this. And I really do think that the way these things apply is most people are stuck trying to think about a difficult problem or deal with a difficult ethical issue just out of the blue. And it's ridiculous. In no other field or area of expertise would we think, oh, just once in a while you'll do this thing. If you want to get a PhD in philosophy, you have to do stuff for years. If you want to become a doctor, a medical doctor, years. If you want to become an HVAC technician, which I did years ago, it takes about a year. And that's not counting, going and working on a job site and learning from experts. Just the classes are about a year. And we never expect in any part of life to just be able to do things without practicing them or learning the details. But for some reason, politics, ethics, critical thinking don't have the same approach. And I think that's a real huge failing in our society and our education system. And so that is why I think this stuff applies to real life. All right, what else we got? Do I believe in ghosts? No, absolutely not. Completely made up. I believe people think they saw something. I think that happens all the time. I've seen some weird things out in the woods in my day. But I don't actually think there's any supernatural things running around. Was it hard for me to switch careers? Some of you might have heard me talk about the fact that first I was in the Air Force, then I was a truck driver, and then I was worked at HVAC, and all this time I was reading and kind of indirectly preparing, but at one point I decided to go back to school to get my PhD and become a philosophy teacher. And I did all that kind of on purpose, like I made a plan. And it was really hard, actually, and it takes a long time. And there's like a little bit of like an emotional difficulty too. It's really hard to switch your entire life and your priorities, and other people who thought they knew you, now they feel like they don't know you. So that is a difficult thing to do. What else do we got here? A couple of people asked about news sources. And what I would say is there's no fully reliable news source. News sources are businesses. So the first thing to remember is pretty much everything in the United States, really everywhere, works as a business. And so their main motive is to make money. Now, some of them are trying to balance that with some kind of integrity. And even though I'm not a huge fan of places like, say, the New York Times or the Washington Post, they really do try. And they will admit when they make mistakes. And they're faulty in a lot of ways. But there is some structure in place that pushes back against the money-making interests of the company. And so those are the ones I would look at. I think people look for the wrong thing. What you should look at is companies that aren't as interested in making money, because there's a tension between money and news. If you want to get reliable news and instead of like news entertainment, then you're going to have to constrain yourself a little bit and often say and do things that kind of go against the money-making idea. And so that's how I would tell you to try to find good news sources or something like that. Now, I don't want to go on too long. I'll answer some more questions next week. I'm in my garage gym, so today I'm going to do some weighted pull-ups with the kettlebell. Then I'm going to do some sandbag get-ups. That's really going to suck because sandbag get-ups on a hot day are not fun. And then I'm going to finish up probably today. I think I have to go check my thing, but I think today I end with about 30 minutes of rowing. So pull-ups, sandbag get-ups, and rowing is today's workout. Someone else asked me what I do for a workout, and so that's one example of today's. If you want more details about what kind of a plan I follow and what my goals are, just email me. That takes too long to explain. Okay, so remember the first point. Try to use me as a resource. If you have questions or anything, text me right up. 617-299-1575. That's the Google Voice. It's a little weird. It might seem weird to use, but just text like you would text anybody, and it just works. It's not my phone number. It just gets transferred to my phone number. Okay, so please use me as a resource. And if you have any questions, let me know.